Alright, welcome back everybody. We're going to do a tomato review on this tomato right here, and this is called the Hahms Gelbe Topftomate. I think that's how you would say that. It's just German, so I'm not familiar with the language, but that's how you would say it. This is how it's spelled. If you could try to forget the top part. The top part is misspelling. The bottom part where it says Hahms Gelbe Topftomate. Now this is a micro-Dwarf variety, and I've been growing this now for a couple years. I never did a video on it, so here we are. We're doing a video, and so this variety is actually quite prolific for this micro-Dwarf variety. It actually produces quite a bit of tomatoes. So you could pretty much figure what you see here times 2 is what I got for this tomato. I got twice as much as what you see here. So it's a very good producing variety of tomato. It's very similar to the Yellow Balcony. Let's give you a better look at it. Okay, that's what they look like. A little bit of veining in there if you look. Right? Where are you? A little bit of veining. Right? It's beautiful tomatoes, right? So I've been eating these quite a bit off of the plant. So yeah, you can figure at least, twice what you see there is what you're going to get off of. Generally, 2 plants, you'll get about that much. I think I was growing 4 plants, but 2 of them pretty much died out for whatever reason. But the rest of them, this is what I got out of them. So let's see let's get an idea on what they weigh. And so lately I've been weighing them, and I've also included a ruler to keep on the deck, so you can just kind of look at that ruler and gauge it in size. Sometimes I'll put a quarter out or a dime, just so you can kind of gauge in size what you're looking at, because it's really hard to film these tomatoes and then try to gauge what you're looking at in size. It's impossible. Alright, so let's put one of these on there. Oh, 0.3 of an ounce. Right? 0.3 ounces. 0.2 ounces. They're basically cherry tomatoes. Just wanted to give you an idea of the weight. So there's not much weight on them. As far as the scale of these go, you can get an idea. Just zoom you up really quickly. That's about the scale of it, just to give you an idea of, inch or whatever like that. Alright, so just give you an idea of that. Let's do our bricks on these. Let's slice one of these right open. Pick one that's that one's ready to pop like a pimple. It's very soft. I gotta sharpen this knife and show you what it looks like on the inside. Right? Can't see that now. If I'm where are you? If I'm not mistaken, it looks like you got a tri-chamber in there. So there's 3 chambers on that. That's not normal for a cherry tomato. You shouldn't see 3 chambers in a cherry tomato. All right. So again, this is a micro-Dwarf. So I'm not sure if that's not normal, guys. You shouldn't see 3 chambers in a cherry tomato. Cherry tomatoes are called cherry tomatoes or something because they're based on this. There's a name for these chambers, lolas, or lolies, or something weird like that. So there's a name for them chambers, and generally cherry tomatoes only have 2 of those chambers. So you shouldn't be seeing 3 chambers on a cherry tomato. That's a little on the outside. Let's do our bricks on it and do a taste test. So let's get that bricks going. Right. There we go, a little bit of juice, that's all you need. Okay, so it's about a 6.5, 6 3/4 more or less. It's almost 7 on the scale, so that's actually pretty good. These are going to taste quite nice. So let's give that a go. Okay, let's get right into the numbers. The sweetness wasn't bad. I'm going to put the sweetness at about a 27. Typically, with cherry tomatoes, you want to see 27, 28 on the sweetness. You really want to kind of have those numbers up high on the cherry tomatoes, because the tangy and the flavors and everything, they're really concentrated in this small tomato. So you want that sweetness number kind of on the higher side. Even if you don't taste the sweetness, you want it on that higher side. So we're going to put this at about a 27 to 28 in the sweetness. That's pretty good for a cherry tomato. That's like a good starting point. I'd like to see 28, 29 more or less, but that's still pretty good. That's a good number to be at. And tangy was also high. That was about a 31, 32 on the tangy. It was actually quite rich and tangy. Tangy flavor really struck your tongue with a lot of force. That tangy came right out and really starts making your mouth salivate. It almost starts going into the tarty. We'll get into that. Tomato flavor. When we talk about tomato flavor, again, we're talking about the strength of the flavor. How strong was that flavor? The strength of this flavor was actually pretty strong between they had a very strong upfront taste. Like when you first start eating it, your mouth really, the front part of your tongue really picks up on that. And so the tomato flavor was definitely on the stronger side. I'm going to put that about a 6.5, 7 on the strength of that flavor. It was pretty high, and that's generally pretty good. You do want to see that with cherry tomatoes, because cherry tomatoes are going to really deliver that rich punch that you get from cherry tomatoes that make you want to eat more and more cherry tomatoes. And so yeah, you want that. So that's good. That's about where that is with that one. Now moisture was pretty, a little bit above average, I would say. I'm going to put that one at about a 7. You want to be between 6 and 6.5 when it comes to this moisture area. You want to be a little above that, but this one was actually even a little more moisture. It's possible that these tomatoes have been, they've just been sitting out for now a couple of days, not very long, and so they get really, once they start ripening on the table, they really start getting wet. So it could be because of that, but I'm going to put that at about a 7 on the moisture. Tardy. Now, there was a little something with tardy. Again, it's not a taste necessarily that you pick up from the tardy. It's something that affects the very back of your jaw. And so I was getting a little something from that. So yeah, there was, if I was to put a number on it, I'd say it was below 1 and below. It was very small, but there was definitely something there. Undertones, there may have been a little something there, but not enough for me really to even give it a number. But there was a little kind of a something going on there. Maybe the aftertaste, you could kind of pick up something, but not enough for me to report on. Texture, I'm going to put the texture at about average. We'll say 5 on the texture. It wasn't nothing special. So, texture was actually pretty good. It broke up nice, and, it was pretty good. Now, the production on this plant, this is actually a very productive micro-dwarf variety. As you can see, this is my first harvest. I'm probably going to get one more of these off of about 2 plants. 3 plants if you want to count some of the earlier tomatoes. A couple of plants did die for some reason. I'm not exactly sure what happened. But off of basically 2 plants, I got about basically 2 of these. So this is like 1 plant's worth, roughly, something like that. So that's not bad. That's really not bad at all. And if you grow these in full sunlight and you feed them, you'll probably get even more. That's production. So production, we're probably going to go about a 6.5, 7 on that. It was actually a really good producer. I'm pretty pleased with the production with this particular variety of micro-dwarf. Skins I wasn't that happy with. They did seem a little bit tough. It might be because the fruits are ripening so much, so fast, that their flesh is getting really soft and there's nothing left but a skin. So it could be that they're just ripening really quickly, and they go from like a almost green stage from that to this by the end of the day. So if you pick them off in the morning green, by the end of the day they're going to look like this. So they're like ripen that fast, right? So as far as the skins go, I am going to go about a 4.5 in the skins. I don't want to be that unfair with it. The skins, I did have a couple of issues with the skins where I just spin them out. I'm not going to sit there and chew skins when if you got things to do or people are coming over, you're not going to want to sit there and gnaw on the skin. You know what I mean? So yeah, there was a little bit of that going on there, but I don't want to downrate that because I have been eating these tomatoes off the plant, like popping them in and eating them, and I don't generally have a problem. It's when you start cutting them up. If you cut them up and you put them in a salad, you might have an issue with the skins being thick or something. So just wanted to make a note of that. Again, we'll say 4.5. 10 would have been perfect skins, no problem at all. So 5 is average, so a little bit below. That's not bad. As far as seeds go, I'm going to say for micro-dwarf tomatoes, you're about average, maybe slightly higher. You might want to go with a 5.5 on that. So there is a good amount of seeds in there. So we're dealing with micro-dwarfs. I'm just going to say seeds for the micro-dwarf, this particular variety, is about average. So nothing special with the seeds. So how do I rate this tomato variety overall? 1 being the highest and 10 being the lowest. I'm probably going to say, with this particular variety, I'll probably say about a 2.5 to 3. When it comes to micro-dwarfs, I don't want to compare it to any other tomato variety because that's really unfair. You got to keep this in a category of its own. And this particular variety is called a micro-dwarf, and so it's rated based on that. So based off of that alone, I'm going to probably rate this at about a 2 to 2.5 on that. It's actually a pretty good number for this tomato. Though I do have some other micro-dwarfs that I do rate higher because the plants get bigger and the production is like absolutely off the wall on some of these. Though this one is a pretty good rating for a yellow version of the micro-dwarf tomato. It's actually quite a delicious tomato. So basically that's it, guys. What I'm going to do is I'll leave a link in the description. You can get seeds for this right now. I already have seeds available on my website for it, so you could just generally go there and pick them up. And we'll also leave whatever information we find on this variety down in the description below and on the website, so you can check both and get your information that way. And that's basically it, guys. That is your tomato review for the Hahms Gelbe Topftomate something, however you want to say that. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.